Welcome to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we, and by me and you, I mean we. And by we, I mean me, Alpha, my co-host / co-founder Vincent. We dive into the streaming service. We tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth it and what is not. Vincent, we are here, man.
Turn my mic up.
Turn my mic up.
That's what you look like you're doing.
I'm just excited. I'm looking around the room because there's exciting things around the room.
There's exciting things. Yeah, things that haven't changed for the past 3 years, but they're exciting things, you know?
I was talking more about the things that we're going to talk about later, especially on our After Dark episode.
Which is free for 7 days. That's an exclusive offer. Use the offer code. Use the link in the URL.
It's just now.
Just link it up.
Now. Like if you've heard this, if your first 30 callers to come through, like you'll get that free.
I'm going to call her on line 3. Yeah, bro, Patreon is fire. You better get on it. 7 days free trial.
Wow. Now,
and we're forking out the money to give you guys free trial.
We actually have to pay for you to get on there.
Yeah.
So if we forget to stop paying, you can just stay on there forever for free. But we won't forget.
No.
Because we got our mind on our money.
Yep.
But today our mind is on 2001's very own Millennium actress. Now, press that button. That sounds like going back into the past.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Bro, this is a minute enough. This is a minute. I don't know how to stop this.
This is the new intro.
I've got it here.
Can you stop it?
I can't stop it.
What's it called?
It's called intro outro.
Now, I will say that this...
Welcome to the Back Catalogue podcast.
This was done better, as in, both times it was done authentically and accidentally. But this was done better in the Ratatouille episode.
I should have looked.
And you watch the Ratatouille episode and you will laugh.
You laugh.
That's my favourite episode, or one of, to this date.
Brother, we still got 30 seconds.
We got to get Ollie back on the show. Ollie, if you're listening, and we think you are, come back on the show. Come back on the show, bro.
Please.
And
please.
and
come back.
We'll do Ratatouille too. We'll do something. If there was, what episode would you do with Ollie? This is intro outro sort of banter, but
what episode? Probably something like, I don't know.
All right, now find the one with the bells that.
All right. This week we are doing Millennium actress.
There we go.
See, now I've got the things here.
And I wanted to do that because I want to take you back to last week, in which Vincent brought up Millennium actress. So let's just do it one more time so I can go back to last week.
All right.
Now, last week I said to Vincent, I ain't watching this anime business. I'm not watching this smut for an hour and 28 minutes.
Which you didn't.
Which I didn't watch it for an hour and 28 minutes, and we'll get into why. Now, there's another issue that I have with this movie, and we'll get into the issues a bit later after I give you the facts. But I just wanted to say, this was brought up last week, and we're doing it this week. There were some technical difficulties off the top. But there's a lot of other reasons why I didn't like this movie. And then we can just go back into present time. That was me talking about it last week.
Oh, I accidentally pressed 2.
And that's the audience, man.
And that's...
I'm going to give you the facts. We'll get into this, all right? So this is 2001's very own, as we said. It's got the 7.8 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got the 8.2 out of 10 on myanimelist.net. It's got the 4.7 out of 5 on Crunchyroll. This had a box office, or I should say the budget first, $1.2 million budget, and a box office of 37,000.
Dude, this made money.
It made money, but that was in US, so it might have made money elsewhere. But in this animated movie...
yeah, you can't go by US.
No, that's right.
For that, I don't think.
Because this was released in Japan on the 14th
and 2001,
of September.
you got to go by rentals.
You know what? It's telling me Japan 14th of September 2002. And then it's saying 2001 earlier. So, it's somewhere between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Year 1, year 2.
Yeah.
Of this new millennia. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in here. Now, in this animated movie, filmmaker Genya Tachibana begins work on a documentary about famed Japanese actress Chiyoko Fujiwara, sorry. Now, I apologize if I've mispronounced names.
You're going to butcher the names.
Now,
if it's not Lazabehiko, you're going to butcher it. You know what I mean?
Now, well into old age, Chiyoko has become reclusive and shy about any publicity, but she eventually warms up to Tachibana and starts to relate her life story. As the decades pass, Chiyoko is transformed from a teen with big dreams into a full-blown celebrity, while her cinematic characters span various eras from ancient Japan to the distant future. And we are here. So let's just get into this movie. We might describe certain things in this movie, what we liked, what we didn't like of this movie.
Yeah.
But I want to give you just some facts of my experience. So I was unable to initially watch this with subtitles.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge for me because, you know, my Japanese is very limited. If I can't pronounce like basic names, I'm not doing Japanese fluently either.
No.
So I was.
But you said you know at the start you heard the man say arigato. So after the 6 times that you heard that, you worked out what that meant.
Well, Chiyoko said arigato, and I heard that about 6 times.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to get these subtitles to work.
But I thought you were the computer guy at the office.
I'm the computer guy at the office, but when it comes to my office, my home office, and there's computers, like things will go down. And the whether it be Crunchyroll, whether it be Netflix, I can't remember exactly where I got this from, but the subtitles were down for that little point there. And I was very frustrated from the start because I was meant to watch this movie earlier in the day, and I ended up watching it later in the day. I had to finish Resident Evil 4 as well. So I went and finished Resident Evil 4.
I mean, you got priorities.
In the interim is what I'm telling you. That's how much time I had. Now, we're sitting here. We're trying to get the subtitles sorted. Once the subtitles were sorted, I was
and there was
coming.
a delay because I had to help do it, and I was in the line at GYG for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was in the line, and the head in front of me, there was cash going in the window. There was cash coming out the window. Then it was going back in.
Like he was giving fake cash.
I don't know what was happening, but the same cash was going in, and then they'd give some change, and then he'd give the change back, and then they'd give the change back.
That's laundering.
I don't know what was going on.
Something's been laundered.
I mean, I don't think any money changed hands at the end. But
Wow.
So I could not fix those technical difficulties.
Now, you said they also gave you some chili sauce that was either good or bad.
They gave me chimmy mayo.
Chimmy mayo.
I don't know. I was in the line.
Chimmy. Like chimichurri?
I don't know. I said I don't want any cheese.
Okay.
And the person said, "Hey, do you want to substitute that for chimmy mayo?" I actually didn't really hear what they said. I just said sure. And they could have said anything. I would have said yeah. And it was good.
Do you want to take like an absolute deuce in your burrito? Even substitute. Yeah, brother, just do it. Please, just do it.
If it fits.
If it fits, I sits. And that's just cat things. That's OG memes. Now, so I was coming in here with a negative mindset, but let's
which you already were because you didn't want to watch this movie.
Yes.
And I'm not really sure why I recommended it. To be honest, this podcast for Waleed. All right, Waleed, this is for you.
Waleed, dude. If you told me it was Waleed from the start, I would have known.
I should have.
Because I didn't have the context of Waleed.
Because I'm not a man who enjoys anime.
No. My issue is not the anime.
I know, but I'm just saying this is Let's take it back to the time.
Okay, we'll take it back.
Let's take it back. Let's take it back. I was on the phone with Waleed, friend of the show, Waleed. And he was saying he's a man that likes anime. And he always tells me what he's watching, what he's not watching. And Millennium Actress was something he was not watching, but he said that it's meant to be really good. It's meant to be really interesting. It's got none of that traditional anime stuff that people who maybe are not in the anime world think that it is, which is me.
Like smart.
Yeah. Because I hate that. Anytime I see that, it's...
Now, we should also say Waleed is like a fine purveyor of just clothing and just fine things as well. That's just to paint a picture of Waleed before we paint a picture of you.
It's a very important part of this story.
Because you'll see Waleed on the street and you'll be like, he's going somewhere or someone's coming to him. You know what I mean? Like it goes either way. But for Waleed, something's moving.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
And he told me to watch this movie. He hadn't watched it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to watch it. And I've watched this probably 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago.
Right.
I'll tell you what. This movie sucked for an hour and 27 minutes. And then the last minute honestly made the whole movie worth it.
Well, here's the thing that we're going to get into in a little bit.
But tell me about your technical difficulties. That's just
the technical difficulties is done.
Oh, it's done.
They're
now you just got the issues with the movie.
Now we're just going to get into the movie and we're going to just go back to present day.
Present day.
So we're in the present day now.
And 2023 is very own.
I came into this movie with a negative mindset. And while I'm watching it, it is a story as it was said. So there is a lover of this person's films, someone that has been in the film industry for a while, who's wanting to do an interview with Chiyoko. And, there's this idea that maybe Chiyoko doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she's dead. Maybe she's still out there. They go to this far off location in some woods, and they find Chiyoko and they sit down with her, and she tells her life story and how her life events were interwoven with the events of the films that she was in. And I'm going to be honest with you. The concept that they provided of them telling this story, and while the story is being told, the reporter or the guy who's interviewing and his cameraman are also in the historical elements. And this is why I wanted to go into the past, because there was a whole lot of business in this movie.
But it wasn't like that, because everything was just intermixed.
It was
because you'd have the present day, the reporter and the cameraman, and then Chiyoko would be telling the story, and then it would go back to the film that she was shooting at that time, and then the reporter and the reporter is a character in the film, and the cameraman just always just there.
Yeah,
normally, and then it goes in between all the different movies to kind of tell the story of her life. But it does it, and the transitions are pretty nuts.
Yeah, no.
The transitions are nuts.
This is what I'm saying. This part of the film was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed it, and it's hilarious because this reporter is a funny character, and then both the reporter and the cameraman are there for some comedic relief, and they do come into certain elements of the bit where, for example, Chiyoko's character is getting overwhelmed in one case by a bunch of bandits, and the reporter comes in and he's wearing like a samurai outfit and he starts piecing people up. But he does it in a way that is comedic. One of the things that I
thought you about, he does it in a way that is very respectful.
I mean, he pieces people up in a very respectful manner.
He pieces people up.
If I know anything from the hit game Ghost of Tsushima, is that you got to be respectful. Because I went in there like Assassin's Creed, just taking people down without them knowing, and then I got a cutscene where the guy's like, "What are you doing? You can't do this. Is not the way, And I felt bad after that. Because in the samurai way, you got to approach people head on to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you at some point."
Yeah.
And you might kill me, but my goal is to kill you.
Yeah, but I got to come in here with some confidence.
I got to come in with confidence. Whereas I came in with just like, "You don't hear me, I'm gonna stab you from the back."
You just come with the absolute reckless disregard for human life.
For human life, and that's video game things,
and that's also LeBron James things.
Oh. Like LeBron James and OG Russell Westbrook, like they have no regard for human life when they're going for that.
And people will make it known.
People will make it known. Wow, man. Wow. Now, I think that those elements were fun, and I'd love to see. And I wonder if there is a film that does this for the Western audiences, because if there is, it'd be fantastic if you could do one with an actor. And I mean, with de-aging and stuff, I guess you could do it. It is.
You're saying in not animation?
Not animation, like a live action. You go through Nicolas Cage's movies.
That would be nice.
And he's out there like living through the movies. Is that what that new movie's about?
I don't know. I was about to say, isn't that a movie? Like, hey, Nicolas Cage, he's wild?
Well, there is the movie where it's Nicolas Cage, he's wild, he's with Pedro Pascal, who's like wants to talk about his movies.
Okay, maybe that's it.
But is there one in this same vein in which Nicolas Cage is an old man, they go back through his movies? I mean, if there is, I'd love to see it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because that would be fantastic. The issue is it's very hard to get Nicolas Cage, if he's an 80-year-old man, doing face-off things. Because, I mean, at 80 years old, if you're taking your face off, that sort of procedure, that's probably going to put you in the grave. If you're taking your face off to look like John T, like that's putting you in the grave.
But I feel like there's some sort of movie magic that happens that means you don't actually have to take your physical face off.
I would 100% right now sit here and say we could do the movie Face Off. Not instead of this movie, but I'm saying we could do the movie Face Off.
We could do the movie Face Off. I mean, that's a movie that we could do. I haven't seen it before.
If you haven't seen it before, I think it's a wild movie to do. But yeah, this is a very beautiful anime movie. I think that the art design is pretty cool. I don't know if there wasn't really changes in the art design between the periods, was there?
No.
But that would have been cool if there was, in her early days, it was maybe an older style of anime, then it starts to progress through.
Yeah, I'm not privy to the historical anime progression, so I don't know.
I mean, I'm just talking about like maybe it's DBZ and then maybe it's just normal DB. You know what I mean? Like that's about the extent of my anime knowledge.
No, so in one he's yelling, and the other one he's yelling, but there's less audio clarity.
And there's less Z's in it,
less Z's.
because it's not a Z version of it. And that's what this movie is. I wasn't really that excited about the story. It is a romantic film about
the
love lost.
The whole premise of the story is she's telling her life story through these movies, and she's been chasing this guy that she met when she was a young girl that basically...
A paedophile is what you're telling me.
Yeah, pretty much. Although Mans didn't really do anything.
He didn't do anything.
But
grooming, you might not do anything initially, and that still makes you a paedophile.
To be fair, Mans legged. Mans legged.
He did leg it from the authorities because they were chasing him, likely for previous paedophilic actions.
Well, we don't know about that.
And innocent until proven guilty is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, so essentially...
For this character.
She sees this character and she falls in love with him or whatever, and then she's basically trying to find him throughout her life.
Yeah.
And it goes through the movies and these characters in the movies, and they're in the movie and on the movie, and that's essentially the movie. She's chasing this man.
Yeah.
And this man is being chased by her and the police.
By a man with a scar on his face.
And
that's the sign of someone that's evil.
Yeah.
If you got a scar on your face, which I do, but it's not in a spot that's evil.
It's not over your eye either.
Yeah.
If it's over your eye or on the side of your cheek.
If it's over your eye and you're jacked, you 100% should be in a movie.
Yeah, you should be a henchman that gets killed in 15 seconds.
But he's in it for a while, and then you think he's going to be something dangerous, and then he gets killed in 15 seconds by a Statham type. Right. Like a guy that does calisthenics rather than a guy that's in the gym juicing. Is what I'm saying.
And who's balding, but he's bald, but he's still got a little bit of hair. He's almost got the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, he's got the donut going, and people respect that because he's a good looking man.
Yeah,
and I'm an advocate for it. We won't get into that because we've got into it before. Now, what I know is that Vincent's in his head right now. He's just waiting for us to get to the end of this movie, but I'm not allowing us to go there just yet because I need to get
We've got a quota. We've got to fill some minutes.
But I also need to get your opinions. You said you didn't like this movie until the last couple of minutes.
I thought, look, the animation I thought was cool.
Yeah,
but I didn't like the story was just a bit nothing for me.
It was just for me. It was a way to get them from young child actress to adult actress, and I'm not talking about adult actress. I'm just talking about she's an adult and she's doing acting. And
adult is the period of her life that she's in.
Yes, and there had to be some drama once she got into certain phases of her life, and one of those phases was the key that this man had given her was then stolen by someone on set, and she had to marry someone who she didn't want to.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of life things.
This is a romance film.
It's a romance film. It's a romance film. But yeah, all that kind of was just nothing for me. It was just nothing. Because also, she doesn't even see this man for more than 15 minutes.
The initial man.
The initial man, the man that she's chasing. And then she chases him for years. And I'm going, what is this? What is she doing here?
Yeah.
Because that is, people with fight, flight or freeze or emotional whatever.
Yeah, emotional damage, the meme, everything.
And people could do whatever they want, but just to me that whole story idea, it just didn't sell me because I'm going, why she doesn't even know this man.
And then look, that's fair enough, and love will work in mysterious ways. That's right. And that's what this movie's talking about, how love works in mysterious ways.
I don't think that's what
I'm pretty sure I read it in the synopsis. It said, love works in mysterious ways.
No.
And then there was a key, and that's the key to his heart. Now, one of the things that I want to bring up with you, this might have the best running animation I've ever seen.
Which one?
This movie.
Just in general?
In general. Yeah. Whenever you see the dudes running, like the cameraman and the reporter running within the movies that they're sort of interspersed within, and because there's often a lot of action, like trains are getting taken over, they're going off of tracks, and these heads are running.
They are running a lot in this movie.
When they're running, dude, it seems like they got some, and this is 2001's, maybe even 2002's very own.
Yeah.
It seems like they got some
pace.
No, not just some pace, but it looks like they got some, like they were modeled off of actual people running rather than like, this is just a cartoon running. It feels like this is a person and then they've chucked an animated cloak over the top of them. because the way these dudes are running, dude, that was what kept me in this movie. I kept looking at these dudes.
That as something that's.
I mean, you did watch it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was definitely more than 2 weeks
ago.
And
you're simply watching this, doing this review for the last minute of this movie.
Yeah, and for Waleed.
And for Waleed, because we talked about the dapper nature of Waleed and that he's going places, but also other people coming to him. And we'll come to you, Waleed, to give you a review. So is there anything else, Vincent? This quota can be.
I mean, we have done like a 3-minute podcast.
Yeah, but that was on a far lesser movie.
I don't even know what those called.
Like the Ghost Squad or something.
Fright Night or something. The Fright Squad.
Fright Squad. Fright Brigade. I don't know.
Fright Brigade.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It was one of the worst.
And I might have even had COVID while watching it.
The Ugly Dachshund.
Yeah, but the Ugly Dachshund, at least there was stuff going on.
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever this Ghost Squad thing is, I don't even know. It was a fever dream in my mind.
So
go on with what you like.
So this movie is that's what it is for an hour and 28 minutes. And then at the end, the Chiyoko is essentially about to die. I don't know.
There's earthquakes going on.
There's earthquakes because it's Japan.
Yeah.
There's tectonic plates. There's movements in the earth.
Yeah.
She's in hospital. She's about to die. And then they're on their hospital bed. Chiyoko's there. The reporter and the cameraman are there. And she's then reliving the last movie that she did or whatever, which is one that she's, is Team Rocket. They're blasting off again. They're going to space. She's going to space.
And this is the one that we see at the very start of the movie.
Yeah,
as well.
So you see this at the start and the end, and it's and then they've blown it all.
It's cyclical.
It's cyclical. It's cyclical, and she's there getting ready to go off to space or wherever she's going. I think she's actually going back to Earth or something. Anyway, and they're talking about, you never found the man, and you had the key, because they end up finding the key, or the dude has the key or whatever.
Yeah, he has the key,
or the DJ Khaled has the key. Someone's got the key. And she says to him, saying, you didn't even find the dude. She goes, it wasn't him that I loved. It was the idea of him. It was chasing him that I loved. And that sold the whole movie for me. And I know that wouldn't have sold you, because you had technical difficulties, you skipped half of it, and that's not something that you think about. But I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
In terms of, these movies like the ones where people save the world or these wild things happen, and then you think, what happens after that? I always think, what happens after that? They just go back to just living?
Like you're saying, like a Captain America type, what does he do?
That's a bit different because he's a superhero. I'm talking more so, let's say, for example, the heads from Stranger Things.
Okay.
That's one I thought about a lot.
Yeah.
These kids do Stranger Things.
Then they're just doing normal things.
And then, obviously they made more seasons. But, for example, they've fought this whatever that thing is, the gargoyle. That's the one.
Yeah.
And then after that, if they didn't do any more, if we're talking that as a succinct story, first season,
yeah,
the rest of their lives are just, that's it.
It's just traumatic, like bad dreams, like that.
Whatever is traumatic or not, but even that's almost like a peak. And then how do you go back to just living like that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
I'm not explaining this very well.
No, I get what you're saying. You're saying but I'm just trying to link it back to Chiyoko.
I'm linking it back as, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And that's cliche, that's whatever. But I think making that as that ending on that she never even finds this dude, and that's essentially what the whole movie was about. That made me think, and it made me feel like it was worth my time watching the movie.
Right.
And that's what I really enjoyed about it at the end. While I was watching the movie, I did not like the movie. It was just slow. I just didn't feel like I was in it. It was kind of boring. But when they did that, I just thought that's wild, because it also retrospectively gave the movie more meaning to me.
Right.
Because I was thinking about it. She's chasing it. She doesn't even know this dude. She doesn't even know this dude. She literally just helped him, I don't know, steal a painting or whatever. She
helped him at least hide away from the police. Or whoever it was in the initial parts of this movie.
And that's it. And that's all she knew. And then he gave her a key at some point. And the whole time I'm thinking, come on, Chiyoko.
And the key was to his bag that had potentially art paintings in there.
Yeah, I don't know what he
And because the man wanted to go to the snow I mean, it's snowing everywhere. They were in Japan. It was snowing. And he wanted to go to the snow and he wanted to do art in the snow until his body got so cold. And that sort of presented the art that he wanted to make.
Yeah.
And, that's art things like heads that do artist things. They'll go into the steaming hot desert naked and they'll just lie on the ground. They'll be like, all right, this is art for me.
This is art.
So, look, I appreciate that there are films that will finish off with something that makes you look back and appreciate the rest of the movie. We could even say maybe if we take a moment to look back at Interstellar, you could say that moment with old mate Matthew McConaughey's in the bookshelf at the start, and how he was not trying to get the person to go to space, whatever. Like you could say, oh man, this has made it all worth it. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of another idea that's similar.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that makes the movie.
Interstellar was a good movie throughout.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the only thing I could think of where it like leads back to the. But I can understand that you get to a point in a story, and that will make the story feel whole.
Yeah,
and that's fair enough. That's a good ending to a movie.
I think I just more so like the idea that they left it. They just left it as they didn't even reach almost the climax, and the climax was that like the whole movie, the rest of the story was it, not the ending.
Yeah,
you have Avengers Endgame and they end game.
They ended it,
but in this one they didn't end the game.
Well, no, but they did.
I mean,
because that's her last thing. She lived the life that she wanted to because she followed the process.
That's right, and I think that's now you said that also makes me think that's what I liked about it as well, because it was just.
I mean, I'll say stuff and you'll think about it.
I'll think about it because I'll think about things. I'll think about things.
You do.
And
sometimes for too long, and then you fall into existential crisis.
I know, and I did after this.
Yeah,
I did after this.
I mean, I was thinking about the grid going down as well, but that's like different existential crises. I got like 16 liters of water just at my house. I'm building it up, so it's going to be more than 16 liters. But that's just water available, without any.
That's potable water.
That's without grid.
That's without grid.
That's gridless water.
Bro, gridless water? You fools buying like grid water? Jeez.
But yeah, no, I appreciate the ending to this movie. I appreciate the movie. I don't think Vincent thought I was going to come in and give it a 1, but that's not where I'm going with this at all.
You're going to give it a 0.5?
No. I think this is like, it was.
It's not for you, this movie.
It wasn't for me, but I enjoyed enough of it to give it a 6.5.
For real?
To give it a 6.5, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it was, if I came in with a better mindset from the start, and I sat down, I watched this movie, and I did it as Scorsese intended, without technical difficulties. There's elements of this movie that I really liked. For example, we talked about them already. I like the nature of the storytelling, that not only was her life story being told, but it was told within the films.
Yeah.
And there was interlinks between what was going on in real life, what was going on in the movies, what was going on currently in her world. I think that was very cool. And you can't go half-assed and make a movie like that. You have to put some decent thought and writing into it. So I appreciate that. And I think the animation was top tier.
Yeah, it looked
really
nice.
Good. And we're talking about 2001's very own.
Or 2002.
It was 2002, 2001, and you got Paw Patrol now, but you didn't have it back then. And Paw Patrol on real graphics, you know what I mean?
They got ray tracing on.
So I'll give it a 6.5. I don't feel that the end. I mean, the end was great. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, another movie where I think the end really solidified the movie. And we might we should do an episode where the end solidifies the movie. But there's this movie In Time. You seen that movie?
Bro, that's a killer movie. I don't remember the end though.
Yeah, well, maybe we won't go into the end then. But that ending is like when he gets his final opportunity to go on the time machine, what's he going to do?
Doesn't he give it all to heads or something? That's right. It doesn't matter.
He just gives it all to heads.
He just gives it all to heads.
He goes in the time machine and he gives it to him.
He's there and he says, "Look under your seat. There's time for you. There's time for you."
And there's no time to die. But I want to get into your rating and then we'll get into this.
I mean, I'll rate this a 7.5.
Okay.
Because it's still.
That's fair enough.
It's not a movie I'm going to watch again, but I'm really happy that I watched it. Waleed, thank you for recommending me.
Thank you for being dapper as well, Waleed, because you look like the sort of guy that's going places, but also people coming to you. Can you just, before we leave here, I just want to go back to the start of this movie. So can you just,
as in back to the start of this movie?
no, back to the start of the show. So with not the song one, just like the.
Okay, all right, let's go back.
Yeah. I've got the keys, and this has been the back catalogue.
Talk soon.